Let me
Well,
ask you this:
I love great Drake.
if
If
the
you're out, I'm
Niners
sorry, I
stay,
didn't say that.
if the Niners stay relatively healthy next season, which they haven't been able to do in a while, will they win the Super Bowl? They beat the Seahawks week 1. They have a really good quarterback who's still young, got a hell of a coach. What do you think? Is health
No,
the
I mean
only kind of
it's not. I mean, maybe you got to. That's the question. I can't say that. I'm not
yeah,
that level of a homer. I mean, optimistic about the Niners,
okay,
even though they've had some bad drafts. I'm optimistic they can have that bonanza that they need,
yeah.
and I'm optimistic they'll spend a few more dollars in free agency, and I'm optimistic that they'll address their needs, and I feel good about their chances if they fill their needs. But there's a lot of needs and there's a lot of filling that needs to be done. And there's no way I could speak right now about any kind of championship until we get at least 10 of those 12 needs met. I mean, they have a lot of needs. They got a lot of needs and they got a lot of question marks. And they're not one of the top teams. I was looking at the odds from FanDuel, Grant, for the odds on the upcoming Super Bowl 61. The Niners are not in the top 10. That should speak to them loudly and clearly. That's where you reside currently among the NFL hierarchy. You're a good quarterback and a good head coach and a good organization. They've done a lot of winning, some great players there. You're not a top 10 team. Not today.
You don't have a great defense. You don't have a great defensive coordinator. Maybe if they trade for Max Crosby, they can uh, make themselves into a great defensive team, but I don't see that right now. They're trying to be a great offensive team. They don't have a left guard. Their offensive line is mediocre at best. Their tight end. What are you really expecting from George Kittle this year?
Nothing. I mean, he tore his Achilles in the playoffs. He shouldn't be back until the playoffs. It's a 1-year rehab. I don't expect anything from George Kittle. I expect George Kittle to, you know, hold court in the media. His interview to reception ratio was going to suck. He's going to have
I
lots of
agree.
interviews
What's
and
okay?
very
So
few receptions.
let's keep going through it. What do you expect from Christian McCaffrey in 2026?
I expect Christian McCaffrey to either get hurt and miss a lot of games, maybe half the year, or I expect the 49ers to adjust and start utilizing him as a slot receiver. Like my plan to rebuild the Niners would include drafting a couple of running backs and using Christian as the way that the Lions use Jahmyr Gibbs, or maybe even a little bit more as a receiver, maybe a little more like a cross version of Debo, where it's like you start using him more as a receiver and less as a runner.
Agree. Okay, so we expect Jennings to be gone. What do you expect from Ricky Pearsall in year 3?
I expect him to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, or I think somebody with the Niners told me that Renardo Green and Ricky Pearsall are likely to be traded, and so I'm going with that. I told you that a week after that was told to me, and that's what I expect.
Okay. Okay. Hey, maybe the Niners go out and get Brian Thomas Jr. That'd be interesting, but we don't know who their wide receivers are going to be. We don't know when George Kittle's coming back. We don't know what to expect from Christian McCaffrey or how they're going to use him, although maybe we do know what to expect. And then Trent Williams, what do you expect from him in 2026?
I mean, he seems like he's pretty rock solid. I expect Trent Williams. I don't expect him to be better, but I expect Trent to kind of be what Trent is. I think Trent's going to keep going.
The problem with Trent is that he's usually injured by the time the season is ramping up, like playing through something when it's January. At least at this point.
I'd like to have Trent's replacement there, so you get a year of showing this replacement. Show them the ropes. I mean, this is a position I wouldn't mind if they had a guy. I mean, I like the Notre Dame kid Emil Wagner, but they got to find a day 3 tackle because they can't invest a high pick in one right now because they have other needs that are today needs. It's more of a tomorrow need. But on day 3, man, you got to find a tackle that you really like and let them learn from your main Hall of Fame guy for a year. I think that would be a huge opportunity wasted if they don't do that.
Yeah, I think the Niners are in a very weird spot. You think of them, their Super Bowl window should be open. They have their quarterback. They have a great backup quarterback. They have their coach. I mean, what are we waiting for? But they haven't drafted well enough. And it seems like I mean, even if they do stay healthy, they're a couple of drafts away, a couple of good drafts away from being what the Seahawks are.
Yeah, unless they have, I mean, it depends. Are they gonna participate in the free agent market this year? They really didn't last year. I mean, there's two or three guys in the free agent market you could add. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they're gonna need new weaponry. I mean, they're gonna need a couple new backs. They're gonna need a new tight end, at least another tight end. They need at least two receivers, probably more like three. And they need at least two offensive linemen. They need an interior guy and they need a future tackle. They may
Doesn't
need
that sound
two
like you just
interior guys.
described 2 off seasons, though? How do you
Well, I'm
get
just
all of that in
saying,
one off season and get it
yeah.
right?
Oh, I know. I mean, you're going to have to. Well, the thing is, okay, you're going to have 20 new players. You're going to
Mhm,
have to. I think you've got what, 8 picks or something like that. You're going to have to turn
mhm.
your 8 picks into 12 picks. You have to move back a little bit, and then now you've signed 5 or 6 free agents. I mean, especially on the offensive side. I mean, like Kyle Pitts, I would definitely go after Kyle Pitts. I mean, we'll see if he's franchise tagged. He's a guy that I think could be franchise tagged. If he's not, man, that would be a guy that I would absolutely spend some money on. I'd rather go spend the money on Kyle Pitts, who is a tight end, and so he's might be cheaper than Juwan Jennings. So
I feel like that's an interesting trend that the Rams kinda pointed out. Like, not only are tight ends, I mean, effective, but they're cheaper. So all of
right,
a sudden, they had 3 on the field at one time. None of them are making a lot of money. I wonder how many teams are gonna look at that and see, what are we why are we spending $35 million a year for this wide receiver who's not winning us games? Why don't we just invest in the tight end market?
right, and a team like the Rams, they've got the quarterback with the arm that can create the separation. They're not even worried about these guys separating. They just want guys with good ball skills. So they've got a bunch there, and then the Niners ought to shop in that aisle this year. Tommy Tremble, Cole Kmet. I mean, there's going to be a Jonnu Smith. There's going to be about 10 different tight ends. Njoku. I saw the list. Hawkinson. There's going to be a bunch of guys who are lopped off in the next couple weeks as teams get compliant with the salary cap. You're going to see a bunch of tight ends. I think the tight end market's going to double or triple in size. You're going to see a bunch of good tight end options. And if I'm the Niners, I'm definitely shopping at that aisle because Purdy loves throwing it to the tight end. I'll give you one tight end I think they're going to sign. I bet you they sign Charlie Kohler, who he was Brock Purdy's tight end at Iowa State. They had a great relationship there. He's had a really bust out year this year with the Ravens. Ravens have a ton of free agents. They're not cap compliant. I could easily see Charlie Kohler being here.
It seems to me that you can never go wrong signing players at positions that are, like, undervalued. Tight end, you're not gonna break the bank. Safety, you're not gonna spend that much. You can get an all-pro safety for $15 million a year. You can get a good one for $10 million a year as opposed to freaking wide receiver where you're spending 20 plus just for a
28.
complimentary guy. Ugh, ugh,
28 is
I
the franchise tag for
yuck.
wide receivers. Just
Yeah.
just wave goodbye. Just just draft receivers and get ready to go find somebody else. Always look for somebody else.
If the Niners can drastically improve in the trenches this offseason, uh, that would go a long way. They did great improving their run defense. They got some good run defenders, but they need a pass rusher. However, I don't think it's Bryce Huff. I think they need someone better than Bryce Huff complementing Nick Bosa, and they need a left guard. We talked about this last year. They got super cute with that Ben Barch stuff, and they lucked out with Spencer Burford being able to play that position. They should not re-sign Spencer Burford. He's probably going to get $15 million a year like Jalen Moore did. They need a real. It can't be Ben Barch. They need a good left guard if they want to run the ball against the Seahawks.
Jesse always gives me crap because I keep suggesting Nick Allegretti, but I do like Allegretti. Now, yes, he's a friend of mine. He's been on the show, but the Niners did look at him when he signed with the Commanders. He told me the 49ers kicked tires on him and he talked to Lynch. He's got Super Bowl experience. He can play center. He can play guard. He's a veteran. He knows how to play. He's tough. He's got a wrestling background. He's versatile. He's probably pretty cheap. Everybody's saying go get Linderbaum. Okay, but he's going to cost you like 5 times what you're normally paying for Brendel right now. So, I mean, it's like, is he 5 times better than Brendel? Well, probably not. So then you got to justify paying him that. I don't know if I would pay Linderbaum, but I know what people are saying. You got to get better inside because they virtually have quit on even trying to run the ball at Seattle. And Seattle's got a good defense, but guess what? They got a really great defense if they know that you can't run inside and that you're not going to try to run inside. And so they can just basically just out sprint you to the sideline and, shut you down like they did in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the best way really to attack Seattle is between the tackles, right? Because one of those
Rams
guys is
did.
two gapping. They don't have an eighth guy in the box. They should be a little light between the tackles. They have the
They're
two
daring
outside
you to do it.
linebackers setting edges, but you should be able to run between the tackles.
Rams did it. Cohn went for 6 yards a carry. Rams ran for 5 yards a carry. Niners could not run the ball at all in the last two matchups. They only scored 8.7 points per game in the three matchups against Seattle. It's time to change things up offensively.
What's great about adding extra tight ends to the formation, especially against the Seahawks, is that every time you add an extra tight end, you add an extra gap. So if you add two tight ends, that's two extra gaps. And so what are the Seahawks going to do? Are they going to bring the safety down? Or are they going to add? If not, they'll have multiple defensive tackles playing two gaps. And now you got a lot of space to run the ball between the tackles. The Rams figured that out. The Niners absolutely need to figure that out. But again, Linderbaum, he'd be great. He's the number one center on the market. They don't necessarily need a starting center. They definitely need a starting left guard and a good one. And it'd be nice if 38-year-old Trent Williams wasn't their best offensive lineman. At a certain point, that's a lot to ask for him. He could be the second best offensive lineman. You need to make a serious investment in this guard position. Like when the Bears signed Tooney last year, that was smart.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the Niners need a couple things, but just generally, they need a lot more speed on defense. Too slow on defense, and on offense, they need more. They need better runners, more explosive, dynamic weapons that can operate in space. They got no yards after the catch. The 49ers, I mean, think about it. If I told you just on the surface, I'm not going to tell you about what the Niners season was like at all, but I'm just going to tell you that they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback, and they were like last in the league in yards after catch. That's not good. So you're asking a guy who doesn't have the big arm, but processes really well and can get it out of his hands from any angle quickly, but he doesn't have hardly any yards after the catch, and he has got Christian McCaffrey on his team. It's like, that tells you right there, go get some better weapons. Surround this, build a fortress around your quarterback so he has time to throw. Get some more dynamic weapons. Say goodbye to your slow weapons. Every guy that played receiver for them, Bourne wants to come back. No. JJ wants to come back, take his card key. All these guys move on, find better speed. They're too slow.
I got a guy for you, a name. He's real fast, super fast, gives you yak. Just got released. He's a little older, about 31. Tyreek Hill.
See, once again, I mean, last time I saw this guy, his leg was bending in a direction that is not supposed to bend. And,
That's true.
These guys it just doesn't, it's like I have great respect for the guys who play this game because of the violence that they go through. But then I am also smart enough to know that once they endure that violence, it's over, man. I mean, for every Bryant Young who put a steel rod in his leg and played 9 more years, there's Willis McGahee who never looked the same again, or Marcus Lattimore who never looked the same again. So when you see catastrophic injuries, I'm not offering I don't want to offer guaranteed dollars of any real size to anybody who's had catastrophic injuries. I know that sounds terrible, but